We will call the Tuesday, May 13th, 2025 Faribault City Council meeting to order. Our first item is roll call.
Councilmember Barnes. Dumbuya.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Rowan.
Here.
Bunceloose.
Here.
Teal. Mayor Spooner.
Here. And Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next, we have approval of the agenda.
Mayor Spooner,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
I have a motion to approve by Dumbuya, a second by Vanceloos. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion passes. Next is our presentation, Poppy Week proclamation. Here, Jeanette Hammond here. Leader in the proclamation. The Office of the Mayor of the City of Faribault proclamation. Whereas the United States of America was founded upon the premises that all citizens should enjoy the blessings of freedom and liberty. Whereas the freedom and liberty that Americans enjoy, longed for by the people around the world and directed as a result of many sacrifices made by American veterans. Whereas Minnesotans have made the ultimate sacrifice in defense of this freedom. Whereas it's fitting and proper that we recognize the courageous efforts of veterans who have sacrificed and secured this freedom and liberty for all Americans. Whereas the American Legion Auxiliary, the Veteran of Foreign Wars, the Veteran of Foreign Wars Auxiliary have adopted the poppy as their commemorative symbol. Whereas each year, disabled veterans assemble and distribute memorial poppies, creating a tangible tribute to the honor of our nation's fallen heroes and benefit the living veterans and their families. Now, therefore, I, Thomas J. Spooner, the Mayor of the City of Faribault, do hereby proclaim that the week of May 19th as Poppy Week in Faribault. Thank you.
Politicians, old or new, but this year was a little different for the American Legion Auxiliary. Usually the veterans make the poppies, but this year there weren't enough veterans that were able to make the poppies, so the auxiliary made 3,000 poppies. So that was quite an endeavor to take on. Next week we will be out and about. We'll be at poppies for you to give a free will donation. And some of the things that we support with the poppies is we go and visit all the veterans in nursing homes and assisted living facilities 3 times a year. We support 23 to 0, which is suicide prevention, and 23 support, believe it, that's a training for service dogs in Northfield. And so we support them. We support the Minnesota chapter of Paralyzed Veterans. And I happened to be able to go to see that facility, and it is amazing. They have a swimming pool there that the bottom of the pool moves so that the veterans tables come down from the ceilings so that they are at the right length or height for the veterans. But please get out and support the Poppy fundraiser because of those veterans. We have the freedoms that we do have, and Faribault has always been very good to us. Very good to the Poppy fundraiser. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, our next item is approval of the minutes of April 22nd.
Mayor Spooner? Make a motion to approve minutes for the April 22nd, 2025 City Council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion by Roan, second by Dambuya. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, motion passes. Request to be heard, we have none on the.
Anything?
Next item, are consent agenda items. We have items A through P.
Mayor Spooner,
Anybody like anything pulled?
I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda items 6A through 6P.
Second.
Motion by Van Sluis, a second by Ross to approve 6A through 6P. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Next item is public hearing. We have one public hearing tonight. Ordinance 2025-2 annexing certain land from Wells Township into the city. Harry Davis will give us the presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, please just give me 1 second just to set up. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. So the item in front of me today is an ordinance to annex land within Wells Township into city limits. The applicant is Kathy Kalo on behalf of the Willie family, and the annexation is just north of the industrial park. Here's kind of just a Google map image of where it is. You can see the red dashed outline of the northern industrial park. You can kind of see where Dyke and Applied North is. This would be just north of that location. And here's the entire property. It's right next to, you can see this purple line that outlines the current city limits. So the area in question is 67.5 acres. It's connected on two sides to city limits. The comprehensive plan does identify this location as commercial industrial mix. It is adjacent to the industrial park, so we really do anticipate more of an industrial development located at this location. It is also located near the planned exit for the future interchange between 150th and I-35. Property will be zoned TUD as it comes into the city, as it's required within our ordinance. The applicants have not proposed a different zoning district to bring this in. They are waiting until they have a specific developer targeted in order to focus on one particular zoning district. We did send letters by certified and regular mail to all the adjoining property owners, even those across I-35 and road right-of-ways, as well as Wells Township. We haven't received a whole lot more than just questions wanting to know what's going on. So we are recommending that City Council approve its first reading of Ordinance 2025. Happy to take any questions.
Questions for staff?
Can you put that map back up?
Sure. This one or
The other one.
Okay.
This time I would entertain a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
By Ross, second by Van Sluis. Aye. All opposed? We are now in public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on this matter, please come up to the podium. State your name and address for the record. Shocked, we usually have no one here. I don't know what to do. Seeing no one jumping forward, I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Dumbuya and a second by Roan to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're out of open session, excuse me. All right, at this point, we'll take
Mayor Spooner,
yes.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-2.
Second.
I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-2 annexing certain land from Wells Township into the city by Ross, second by Barnes. This is an ordinance and we'll need a roll call.
Councilmember Barnes. Dumbuya.
Yeah.
Ross.
Aye.
Rowan.
Aye.
Von Sluse.
Aye.
Mayor Spooner.
Aye. Motion passed. All right, we're on to the next item. Items for discussion. Our first one is ordinance 2025-3, approve zoning text amendments to match the land use in shoreland with the DNR model ordinance. Once again, Harry Davis.
Thank you, Mayor. So yeah, the ordinance in front of you is to amend our zoning ordinance in order to match what the DNR has in their model ordinance for land uses within shoreland areas. It's the city that's initiating this zoning ordinance amendment. What we have realized is that there are a lot of situations that staff has run into over the years where we have a applicant coming forward, whether they're a property owner or their business, and we have to look in 3 or 4 different locations in order to determine whether a use is allowed within shoreland or not. Sometimes we're looking at the zoning ordinance, we're looking at shoreland, which is in a different column right next to it, and then we're also looking elsewhere in the code to determine that. And sometimes we find ourselves in situations where none of those are really matching up. One might be permitted in one location, one might be conditional in the other, and we might have another location that says it's not permitted at all. So we've run into a lot of really tough conversations with property owners, applicants, and so looking at what the model DNR ordinance has, it's a lot simplified, and it actually in a lot of cases improves some accessibility for those businesses and property owners. So we're removing a lot of shoreline ordinances or ordinance references within the individual zoning districts, which is kind of part of the problem. And we're instead focusing it more within the shoreland section with all the other special districts. And with that, we're hoping to do is really just look in 2 locations. Is it permitted, conditional, or not allowed at all within the underlying zoning district? And is it permitted, conditional, or not allowed at all within shoreland? Looking in 3 places, we're not looking in 4 places. Makes it a lot easier for staff to manage, a lot easier for the public to follow along and understand. So, you know, I do have both of the tables for land uses for lake classifications as well as for river classifications. I'm happy to go into those more if you'd like me to. But generally, when we're looking at a zoning text amendment like this, it meets a lot of our comprehensive plan goals about balancing between what I would argue, you know, city sort of public interests in making sure that our waterways are protected and private property interests, where for a lot of those people, sometimes it's existing development and they just want to be able to continue doing what they're doing there, whether it's living, operating a business, or what have you. So this is a really good opportunity for us to kind of further some of the comprehensive plan goals. For zoning criteria, it does meet a lot of our criteria, and so we've provided some findings in the ordinance that follow that. The DNR has issued a conditional approval letter. They're very happy with the changes that we've made. They were a little confused as to why we adopted it the way that we did. I'm sure that there's a whole reasoning behind that, but this is way more simplified for them to understand, and we hope for a lot of other people. So in summary, we feel like this is meeting a lot of the criteria, and we've provided findings that are supporting the ordinance amendment. So we're recommending that you approve the first reading of
Questions for Mr. Davis? I guess I just have one, and I think you answered. Is this going to make it simpler so everybody totally understands it?
Yeah, it's going to make it a lot simpler for me, hopefully for everyone else.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this time, I will.
Mayor Spooner. I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-3.
I'll second.
I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-3 by Ross, seconded by Roman. Ordinance, oh, roll call.
Councilmember Barnes.
Aye.
Dumbuya. Ross.
Aye.
Rowan.
Aye.
Von Slus.
Aye.
Mayor Spooner.
Aye. Ordinance passes. Item B, Resolution 2025-122, declare environmental assessment worksheet complete for Archer Data Centers. Once again, Mr.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a resolution looking at a upcoming development within Faribault. They have to go through a series of other approvals in order to bring this forward. The first of which is an environmental assessment worksheet, otherwise known as an EAW. It's from Archer Data Centers, prepared by their consultant, Kimley Horn. And the proposal tonight is just to release the EAW for public comment and review. We're not really going to get into, or at least I'm not going to get into a whole lot of the specifics with it. I'm more than happy to if you'd like me. But this is really just releasing it to the public for public comment. The project's location is actually very close to one of the others that we reviewed tonight, just on the other side of Acorn Trail, just north of the industrial park. It's currently within city limits and it's zoned actually I-2. Property you can see here kind of by the cyan color or the cyan outline around that property. So I'll just go back to the map. So this is looking just north of the industrial park, right next to it. Like I said, it's zoned I-2. The property is viewed here, is outlined in cyan. And then the request, like I'd mentioned before, there's a approval that they have to go through first, some sort of additional requirement. And it's because it's enough square footage to trigger the requirement from the Minnesota Environmental Pollution Board about whether or not something has to go through additional environmental review. Just to get into a little bit of the background for it. So as soon as a project that is light industrial or warehousing, and staff has determined that this is probably closest to that as a data center, as soon as you get to 450,000 square feet or more, and the applicant is proposing up to 500,000 square feet, is when environmental review comes in. First part of that, which it triggers, is a mandatory EAW or environmental assessment worksheet. The purpose of that is to determine whether an environmental impact statement is needed or an EIS. The City of Faribault is the responsible government unit, or the RGU, for something like this. In this case, the applicant has prepared the EAW. Staff has reviewed it multiple times with them. We've sent it out to our partners at Rice County for a few additional questions or a few additional comments. And they've been able to work through a lot of those comments with us. And so this draft EAW, we feel like it's appropriate for public comment and for review by the public. And like I said before, this is just determining that it's complete and ready to review. Council will have time before the final documents to review it further, to ask a whole lot of other additional questions. And we will have both the applicant as well as our consultant team that's reviewing the EAW available at those to answer any of the really specific stuff. The overall timeline for this project, we're looking at probably at the end of this month, assuming that council does release this for public comment. The Environmental Commission will review this project as it's stipulated in the founding of their commission. In June, the developer is going to incorporate any of the additional comments that come out of the 30-day period. Planning Commission will review it, and then City Council will review it and that EAW, and then we anticipate, might be end of June, might be early July, submitting it to the Environmental Quality Board and going through the additional development entitlements that this project needs. So preliminary and final plat, site plan, all that sort of stuff. So we are recommending that City Council approve resolution.
Any questions for staff?
Thank you, Mayor Spooner. So if I understand correctly, the Planning Commission is going to review this after we approve this tonight?
Sure. So the draft EAW that's provided in the resolution, so that all that's happening right now is that is going out to the public. So that's all you're approving right now is just releasing it to the public.
Just the
Yeah. So
okay. Okay.
what happens after that is that there's the 30-day public comment period. After that, the applicant is going to go back and revise the EAW based on those comments to make sure. Then it'll be sent back to the city. City staff will have a moment to review it and make any additional comments. It'll then go through Planning Commission and then City Council. So you're not approving this.
I understand now. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't cutting the Planning Commission out, but I understand. Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Ron?
So this hasn't triggered an environmental impact statement yet, but it could.
It could. The likelihood of that right now is low based off of what we've seen. It just barely hits that threshold by 50,000 square feet going through an EAW. To go through EIS would 650,000 square feet. I'd have to look that up for you. But part of the EAW is also determining whether or not. So this is just the first step.
And staff doesn't see anything at this point that would cause alarm?
No, not currently.
Mayor Spooner,
Yes.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2025-122.
Second.
I have a motion by Van Sluis, a second by Ross to approve resolution 2025.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passed. Next item is resolution 2025-120, approving plans and specifications to establish a bid date for the municipal airport airfield pavement rehabilitation project. Director Travis Block.
You're good.
Yeah, we can see it.
You can see it?
Well, your home screen, not the presentation. We can see it.
You can see it?
See your PC, yeah, your home
It's your
screen.
screen, your
Just a
computer.
That
screen.
one, that monitor is being different from everything else.
Yeah. I don't know. Because I can see just your computer screen, but I can't see your presentation.
Should be able to drag your presentation.
I'm only seeing, I only have one screen in front of me.
If you just hold on the top of that and start moving your presentation, does it start to get back on the?
And for the general public, this is not.
There, how's it?
There we
There
go.
we
There we
go.
go. Don't touch anything.
Touch it.
Yeah, I have no idea what that.
I actually have to touch
Yeah,
something
I
because
don't know.
there's not going out to video. I don't know what's going on because it shouldn't be at video because it wasn't clicked.
Travis, I think we're good up here.
You're good up there?
Yeah.
You can't see it on your screen?
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Mayor Spooner, members of the council. Resolution 2025-120 is seeking approval of the plans and specifications and establishing the bid date for the airport airfield pavement rehabilitation project. The scope of the project area, you can see this map on this part of the presentation is just shows the portion of the airfield that the work will be done. So mainly the apron area in front of the fixed base operator building and or the maintenance hangar, the taxiway to the west that extends out towards the runway, and then the taxiway that also goes back towards some private hangars. This area was the taxiway was last worked on in 2004. You can see this picture here just shows the taxiway, some of the deficiencies that we're looking to address, the cracking of this aged pavement is getting to such an age that this is the time now to take care of this, to do maintenance on this, to extend this life cycle well into the future. This screenshot here shows the apron area with similar, pavement conditions, and a lot of cracking is taking place, and some alligator type pattern of the pavement. Last work in this area was done in 2010. And this is another shot from the other direction of the apron, just showing again more of that pavement condition. Then one final shot of kind of backing up by the fuel farm there, where our fuel system is, and just showing kind of a whole scope of where the work is going to be done. Well, this image here is from the plans that show kind of the primary work area. You can see there's gray and yellow hatched areas in this. Those are areas that have been determined ineligible for the federal funding portion of this project due to the proximity of their location to buildings and or deemed being unusable by aircraft, meaning they're too close, so an aircraft could not pull in there. So therefore the feds are not willing to contribute to their, the funding of that. So that will increase the the sponsor fund portion of that project, but is critical to do this all in one project, so we have a nice seamless project. So this is, that will last well into the future. So just kind of a summary of that, taxi lane E, the one extending kind of back up towards the hangars there, that's going to receive a full depth removal and some installation of storm sewer and subdrain and then pavement, with the intent to improve those conditions for a longer period of time. You can take care of that water under there. The airport generally is a very wet environment on that piece of property, so this is going to help alleviate some of those things in the future. Taxi lane B is going to have some patch and crack filling and a mill and overlay. That's the portion of and a little bit of storm sewer. That's the one that goes kind of towards the runway. And then the apron, we're going to take out the tie downs, do some patching, crack filling. That's going to receive just a mill and overlay as well, with a little bit of storm sewer insulation, and then reinstall the tie downs. Funding for the project, there's three different pots of money that's going to be used for this. Federal funding being the significant portion of it, a little over 1.1 million. State funding of 31,185, and then the airport fund right now approximately of $179,605. We're looking at a total construction estimate cost of just over 1.1 million. Originally there was 32,000 budgeted for the airport portion on our typical participation ratio that happens with a project like this, but like I said, due to those areas not being eligible, that increases our contribution. But there are currently a budget amendment will be necessary for that, but there are currently a couple things in 2025 that will help offset that. One was the mower purchase. It was a much reduced scope of a piece of equipment. So we're able to pick up about, it was total about $67,000 of it we'll be able to offset with that. And then a crack sealing project that we're likely gonna forego just because of some timing. And then this project's gonna take care of a lot of deficiencies, so we're gonna be able to forego that. This just kind of shows a little bit of how we get to that federal funding and the state funding kind of match this. So the entitlement funds that you see there on the left of that column, $150,000 a year, those are funds that we receive from the federal government that we're allowed to accumulate for 4 years, and then we can use those on a project. So we're in our 4th year, so we need to take advantage of using those, or would be required to just basically lose those and transfer those to some other facility needing or wanting those for a project. On the right, the bipartisan infrastructure law, the bill funds there, you can see that. That is kind of something that we've not had in the past, that we've been accumulating those as well. And this is just a great opportunity to utilize those funds. And essentially this project would not be able to be the scope that it is without that $585,000 of additional federal funding that we're gonna be able to use for this project. Then also showing just the state portion, and then what would be initially was our local match out of the project. And just kind of a overall cost, this graphic is just showing kind of overall what the costs we have broke down by things such as the engineering design, the preliminary design of it, the geotechnical, the bidding. Some of those costs we've already experienced with the engineering design of it, and then some of the other ones like construction admin and material testing, et cetera, and then the construction costs are based on an estimate at this time. So we don't know what those costs are when they come in. We're hoping for favorable bids, as we've seen with some of our other street projects. This project is kind of a similar project that hopefully some of the similar bidders in that climate will be able to bid on this. So that's kind of what we're hoping for with this project. So with the project schedule, where we're at tonight with approving the plans and specification, we're looking to receive bids on June 4th, award a contract on June 10th, and then begin construction August 18th with a final completion in October. And I would just also like to add that all this is also contingent upon getting the grant. My 14 years of this, we've not gotten a grant, but these are all contingent upon that, and that action will be coming then when running congruent with the receiving bids and that stuff. So those things will be right along track with that. So with that, I recommend approving resolution 2025-120.
Any questions for Director Block?
Thank you, Mayor Spooner. So the local is the city, correct?
Correct.
So just to simplify it, the local should be around 30,000, but because there's some additional work that we need to get done, it's going to cost about another 170 on top of that.
It's going to be about 179 total, about an additional 140 approximately of the work from the unfunded areas.
Well, doesn't it say the total estimated cost for local funds is 200,000?
That's a kind of a high side padded estimate on our part. After I prepared the memo, I was looking into it further with the consulting engineer, and right now that we're figuring is 179, but we could probably just be comfortable looking with the 200.
Are you confident that all the extra work that we're paying full for is necessary and needed?
Correct. Because without that, there is an option to not do it and then leave that portion of the airfield not, with that original pavement. We'd be looking within a couple of years of having to do something, and then potentially interfering with the work that we have done, causing conflicts. You have another additional large pavement seam there, which is quite substantial, which could create a lot of difficulties.
I understand. Thank you, Director Black. Further questions?
I'm just curious, will the airport be shut down at all? Will it affect any of our renters?
There will be impacts to everyone who uses the airfield, yes, but those will be addressed through project sequencing with issuing of NOTAMs, and then our fixed-based operator coordinating with users of the airport on what areas are going to be unaccessible at certain times.
So like you could stagger out certain
Correct. The project will have a sequencing phase that allows maximal use of the airport, try to minimize that disruption, but there will be times when there's certain areas that will not be able to be utilized just because of especially the area that's going to receive the full depth reconstruction that will see the most significant disruption. I don't have that exact portion in front of me for the project, but the whole project is only expected to take about 2 months.
And this is just an educational question. I learned that the airport doesn't ever use salt on the pavement. And you throw it a few years, 2004 is one that I heard, 2010. Does it usually last longer than your average pavement then if they don't use salt?
Depends, yes and no. I mean, that, like I said, that is a very wet area, so what the pavement out there sees is basically just sun exposure, and then there is some heaving that can happen when the ground is expanding and contracting, which causes the cracking, and then the water enters in there and then creates issues. But it's hard to say that it would last. One would think, yes, that it would last longer, but like I said, the ground conditions out there typically have the largest influence on the life cycle of it.
So if you don't use salt, do you seal coat?
There is seal coating that can be done. We do not do that. We have not done that in the time that I've been here. There are some. There's a little bit different process that has to be done due to you can't use a traditional seal coat because of the aggregate can't be exposed with propellers and that type of thing. They do kind of more like a slurry over it. But we've been really fortunate. It's got a pretty long life cycle, and we feel that this is the best approach to continue having success that way into the future.
Sounds like we'll have some quiet skies for a couple months.
Same question for me.
Yep, we had the same questions.
I would just like to point out that while this won't kind of line up, July 9th is a council chat that will be at the airport combined with our Residents Academy. And so the plan is that there will be some tours that we'll be giving for council. We won't have anything under construction at that point, but we'll be able to give you this is what's going to be happening and when, and we'll have a contractor by then as well.
Okay, let's talk about the federal dollars. So have we taken possession of the money, the $150K for 2022?
Those funds we will take that action when we submit a grant application. Then all of that funding will be part of that grant application.
So we don't get it per year and set it aside?
We've been banking them. We haven't physically been taking it. We just roll that over every year because we didn't have an eligible project, and then after 4 years, then we have to commit to that, and then that's what we will be doing when we apply for the grant.
Let me rephrase the question. So out of the total $1.185 million, how much money have we gotten from the federal government in reality? Not commitments, but reality.
Zero right now until we apply for the grant.
And so there is a chance that because of things that have changed, that they could say no.
There always is that, but as I previously stated, this is all contingent upon on receiving that grant.
If we don't receive the grant, then we're done.
Then we're at a standstill, correct?
Okay, nothing further.
Yep, any other questions?
Mayor Spooner. I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-120.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Ross and a second by Roan to approve resolution 2025. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is resolution 2025-109, approval of preliminary development agreement extension between the city of Faribault and Rebound Real Estate LLC. Director David Weinberg.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The city of Faribault owns a 2.69 acre parcel at 105 River Chase Court, just south of the viaduct. And on February 13th, 2024, the City of Faribault and Rebound Real Estate LLC entered into an agreement that gave both parties 1 year to negotiate a purchase agreement for that property. And then earlier this year, on February 4th, Rebound requested a 180-day extension to that agreement to allow sufficient time to explore moving forward with the purchase of the property. At the council meeting on February 11th, the council passed a resolution which denied Rebound's request for a 180-day extension, but approved a 90-day extension. But that 90-day extension is set to expire on May 14th, which is tomorrow. Earlier this month, Matt Ganter, on behalf of Rebound, submitted a formal request to extend the agreement another 60 days, although they do feel that they can have a proposal to us within 30 days, but have asked for another 60 days just in case. Matt Ganter is here, and he's prepared to tell you more about where they're at in this process. They do report that they've made significant progress in preparing development plans, and they're confident they can pull something together. Meanwhile, city staff is aware of another developer who has expressed interest in this particular property. And if you choose to not extend this agreement another 60 days, that developer is aware that it could expire as of tomorrow. And they would be interested in looking at this and exploring in further detail if they can pull something together. The important thing for you to know is that this property has sat undeveloped for quite some time now. In fact, before Rebound looked at this, we had a similar agreement with another firm that was looking at memory care on that site, and that did not move forward. So this site has sat vacant for quite some time, and there is some urgency for the city to be able to sell this property and get it developed and get some taxes coming off of that. So that really is important here in terms of the way you can look at this. If the city council is confident that it can reach a development and acquisition agreement with Rebound in the next 60 days, it could move forward and extend that. Alternatively, the city council could choose to let this expire and then open it up to anyone. I do want to point out that in Minnesota, that when it comes to disposing of municipal property, there isn't a need to do like an RFP or a need to have competitive bids. The city can negotiate and handle that property however it decides. So there would be an opportunity if you choose to, to open it up, and you could have a variety of approaches to say, hey, let's get something in 30 days from anyone that wants to. So again, what Rebound is asking for is an exclusive approach for 60 days to say, if we can come to terms with you, that's what we'd like to do. So you've got some options before you. The resolution that you have before you tonight is to approve a 60-day extension based on the request that came to you from Rebound. You can choose to deny that if you want, and you can give some feedback or some direction on how you want to deal with this property if you want to open it up. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I know Matt Ganter from Rebound is here and is happy to tell you where they're at in this process as well.
Ross, or staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Director Wanberg, I understand you can't disclose the other potential developer, but have we had a relationship with them before? I mean, have they developed in the city before, and has it gone well?
Yeah, we've had relationships with a number of developers and.
No.
Specifically.
The one that is waiting in the wings.
Yep.
Right.
I think that would be fair to say.
We have had good experiences with them. Is it fair for us to know what their project is, or is that outside the?
The other developer that has expressed interest in it is, understands that the council was looking for something unique with this development and was open to either like something like senior cooperative housing or 55+ housing, similar to what Rebound. So the same information that we provided to Rebound we've also provided to this potential developer as well.
I just wanted to kind of clarify whether the person, so to speak, waiting in the wings, you know, if they've developed within the city, and if we were, you know, if they hadn't developed anything and we were starting from zero, that would kind of cloud this decision a little bit. But that's all my questions for now, Mayor Spooner.
Anybody else? Like to hear from the developer. Fine. All right, you got your couple minutes.
Thank you for taking our time here to talk about the project. So what I wanted to share is just kind of what we've been doing here in the last couple months and what we need to still do here in the next couple months and why we're looking for this extension. So in the past couple months, we've reached out to a few different contractors to get better pricing for the construction itself. And so we've actually been able to reduce our per unit cost by about $20,000. Few things that have gone into that is reaching out to most construction. They're helping us develop the project with using the grade of the site in a more efficient manner than we had in the past. So they're able to tuck the parking into the grading. So that has significantly improved the way that the site lays out and the overall cost of the project. Additionally, we've gotten feedback from both our management group and our internal market reporting to suggest that we can get higher rents than we initially had anticipated. So that also helps the project become more feasible. So basically, where we had taken it when I joined on for this project was we were in a spot where it was not going to be feasible to move forward with it. And over the last couple of months, we've continued to move forward and bring it to a spot where we're really close to making it feasible. And our next steps here in the next couple of months are working with the city to get that purchase agreement actually hashed out. And we think that we probably will be able to do that in about 30 days. But we're hoping that you guys will approve a 60-day extension so that when we get to that 30 days, we're not in a situation where we have to come back here. We can just continue to iron it out, get it all ready to go in around 45 days. And then we can be good to go moving forward. Oh, one other thing was we did talk to Trek Management, who manages a lot of our properties, and we've ironed out all of the operational costs. And so that was an additional saving that we were able to find here in the last couple of months that's able to, again, make the project more feasible.
Any questions for the developer? Yes.
Wanted to thank you for being interested in establishing building and Faribault. That's what we want. That's what we're pushing for. So I thank you for your interest. And however tonight turns out, please don't be swayed to leave or to not try it again.
Thank you, Mayor. So if we don't give you another 60 days, what do you have in it for hard costs or lost costs besides time?
So yeah, basically the pre-design cost to date.
So the pre-design costs and
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So in
a
general,
little bit of
it would be pre-design costs. It would be
architectural and
money to our architects. Correct. In general, when you are reaching out to like a management group or a construction group, they will give you information up front without incurring any costs. So we don't have necessarily costs on those fronts, but the architectural group, right? They have to fund their projects that way. So there would be costs there.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we're gonna bring it back here to the council for action and comment period. I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna vote in the negative on this. This is an extension that they've had. I was frankly against it in February. Not only that, before that, they had a year. This is a piece of property I know in my heart we will have another developer very interested in this almost immediately. So I think that this is something that the city council needs to look at. granting extensions. They've had plenty of time. At this point in time, in February, they should have been close to finishing their project where they're at. I think it's time to move on. We've had several other sites in town that have had this one. We've had one out, say, an old department store that the developer keeps coming back, how many years in a row now? I think it's time to move on, and I'm gonna vote in the negative on this one.
I disagree. I think you made some good points, and when this was brought to the docket, was it February, I believe? That was the discussion, is there anyone else interested? The answer was yes. And so we did agree to a half instead of 180. I think we did 90 days. We are at that time. It is disappointing that we're not further in this. We really need housing in the city. With that said, it was stated that if we don't approve this, this is pretty much a reset. So Mr. Ganter could still be in the running. So I agree with Mayor Spooner.
Well, Mr. Mayor, do we make a motion and then vote nay?
Well, there's two things you could do here. You could make a motion to pass it, or you could simply just not take any action, correct?
That would be correct if Mayor Spooner would say, does anybody want to make a motion? And there's no motion, then it dies for lack of.
Nope. Does anybody here? Seeing no one,
Well,
yes.
Mayor Spooner, I don't think it's, I mean, I understand the whole philosophy behind it, but I don't think it's fair to let it die. So I will make a motion to approve the 60-day extension for resolution 2025-109. So that we can have a vote on it if I get a second, and if we don't get a second, then it will die.
Any other further discussion? All right, I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-109 by Ross and a second by Barnes. All those in favor,
I
signify.
want to do a roll call.
Councilmember Barnes? Nay. Jumbuya? Nay. Ross?
Aye.
Rowan?
Nay.
Dunslus?
Nay.
Mayor Spooner?
Nay. So unfortunately, your development agreement will expire tomorrow. All right, on to the next item,
Mayor
bids.
and Administrator, if I could, if you have some additional direction on how you would like to proceed, with others. To be clear, anyone Rebound could continue, as Councilmember Barnes mentioned, to get their proposal in, but you would entertain a proposal from anyone at this point.
100%. This is open. They're tactically not out of this yet.
Okay.
Back with, if they have a signed, sealed agreement, they're willing to sign, we would definitely entertain it. But we have another developer that we've worked with in the past. Yeah, they're ready. I know they are. So, okay.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, on to bids. We have none. Boards and commissions reports, project updates. Anyone?
Just some heads up. So May 20th is when Allison Burnett is going to be back in town, and we'll have our SWOT analysis review. It just in full clarity of what's going to be discussed. I have provided you a copy of that ahead of the agenda going out and ahead of the meeting. If you lose it before Tuesday, there will be copies at the meeting. So, but just to give you a chance to know what's happening. This is a 2-hour session, 1 hour, 45-minute session. And so is starting at 5 p.m. on next Tuesday, the 20th, something that will work for all of you? Okay. The Great Hall at the library is taken, so Buckham West will be the location. And so we'll put out some more email reminders ahead of the 20th as well. But the 20th, 5 p.m., Buckham West.
Administrator Kinsler, is there when's the next council chat?
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to write myself a note. The next council chat is tomorrow at 6 p.m., also at Buckham West. And it is going to be a panel of individuals that work directly with affordable housing, talking about different trends and things that they're seeing. And yeah, I think we're going to have an interesting conversation and discussion with some experts in the room.
And just to be clear, Buckham West is the former senior center, correct? Not Buckham West Library.
Correct, correct. And then one other announcement, there is also something else happening tomorrow from 2 to 4 p.m. in the same room at the Buckham West Senior Center large room, and that is Paul Panoski's retirement party. So we hope that everybody will be able to make it and wish Paul well, as Friday is his last day, which just happens to conveniently occur right before aquatic season gets started. So thank you to Paul for his service, and yeah, join us on Wednesday.
So just so everybody knows, I'll be filling in for Royal on the KDHL interviews.
Yeah, we got Memorial Day parade coming up.
There's nice.
All right, seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So move. Second.
Motion by Damboya, seconded by Van Sluis. All those in favor of adjournment.